Good morning. Welcome back. All right. All right. Let me get some charts up here before we get going. Master Trader Live this Wednesday. Left it a little different. We invited Fausto Fagusti, if I can pronounce that name correctly. Anyway, I've known Fausto for 25 years. We met probably 25 years ago at Trader Expos, and completely different style of trading. So back, I guess, 25 plus years ago, he worked or was a market maker. So should be an interesting conversation. Join us on Wednesday. I'll drop the link in a little while. All right, let's get to the charts. There we go. So, as you know, I would assume markets are up this morning on news that U.S. and the EU came to some agreement on tariffs. So another one out of the way. I guess that's good. Deal. More and more uncertainty being eliminated as to what's the next shoe to drop. We've been dealing with that all year, but the markets have brushed off all of that slowly but surely since April. And it's been a steady rise, especially in semiconductors. So if you listen to the news, you start hearing valuations are excessive. I suppose so. People look at that type of thing, but a trend is a trend. That being said, internals, which we'll take a peek at here, have not signaled another risk off yet. However, you can see sentiment here actually backing off a little bit, and that's a good thing. Breadth is negative, not a good thing with markets at new all-time highs. However, if some of these laggards could play more catch up, this will move up, breadth will expand, and we'll get another signal, which of course we don't have yet. That being said, just watching and seeing what happened on Friday, where the laggards were playing catch up, the Dow, the Russell, the transports, and the Qs could not get out of their own way in the afternoon. I thought, hey, this is going to be a catch-up trade later in the day. It didn't materialize. It just continued to get sold. And so the semiconductors, the theme says, tech began to falter. So some still look good. Others, NVIDIA gave it up, and some others, not in a big way, but that's how it starts. So you see here last week, it had this relatively large drop. It didn't violate the trend. It stopped near that pivot low. This is what we call major support, the pivot low prior to a higher high. So it didn't violate the trend. However, the depth of retracement puts it in question, and you can see the semiconductors could not push up on Friday. So while they started the day, well, this is today, they started up, they just couldn't get it going. So we'll see. They're up this morning, gapping up above that little shelf and that resistance. You see the cursor on the daily chart, and you can see on the weekly time frame we got a red bar. Okay, red bar, red bar. Extended from price support. This is a 20 MA equal to the 100 on the daily, 20 on the weekly. It opens the door to a pullback, which would be at this point reasonable to think that some type of pullback would occur. We know it's coming because it always does, even though the markets historically are relentless as to give it up as it's moving higher. What'll trigger it? We'll just have to see. But this is a little bit of a heads up, a warning. Institutions are starting to rotate out of some of the winners. It doesn't mean it's going to collapse. It just means, like we always say, accidents begin to happen. Earnings reports come out, and I did a chart of the week on now service, and so that beat earnings. That was one that beat earnings, and look at what it did. It came up to this little failure pattern there and got beaten down and formed a big topping tail on the weekly time frame. So we'll see if that breaks down, but whether it survives. So as we look at the broader markets, there are things that still look like they could advance and play catch up. For example, right, the transports have been lagging for a long time. They're close to resistance, but let's see if they can overcome this high. As we look for more clues as to a short-term correction, right, a pullback, historically what happens is you have more and more of the underperformers beginning to participate as money rotates into them. So the more sectors, stocks that begin to participate on the upside, where's money going to go into? And so historically, that's where corrections typically begin in a market that's been advancing for quite a while. But semiconductors, a little bit of a warning sign of things faltering, little rotation out of that. Nothing serious as of yet. IWM, and you see the rally from Friday as it advanced. It got stuck. Well, it just closed the void, but this was a nasty drop. I'm looking at the 15-minute chart and appeared like it was going to come down here. And I'm looking at the cursor on the daily, lining up with the 20 MA and that price support level. And when buyers come in, and when I see something like this, I mean, everything's based on historical patterns. When you see a pattern like this that begins to drop and you see a wide range bar down and it's consolidating, well, the next thought is, well, it comes down here and this is where we look to be buyers. Well, it didn't get down there. And it rallied throughout the day. It got stuck there and it's gapping up this morning to the next resistance area, which I think is going to make it more difficult to do anything first off. But what that communicates to us is that institutions said, you know what? I'm not waiting for it to get down there, which is what they typically do. Right? They came in early, basically, in the middle of nowhere, pretty much, and drove it back up. So irrational exuberance or just plain out super bullish. We'll see. Right now, it's just chopping sideways. What we want to see is it clear these highs, and that's where the greater opportunity comes if it can start to get through here, less choppy price action like we've been seeing, and it begins to trend up. Not happening yet. Even the Dow, right? That was getting bought, well, not in a big way, but from an intraday point of view, right? It was great. It bottomed out and it rallied inside day over there, but that suggests it's going to continue to go higher. And so one of the things to look for, along with the theme of more and more sectors and stocks participating, would be for the Dow to make new all-time highs. So looking at the weekly chart, we see that it's up near these prior highs, that little M top that it fell from so sharply. Now it's back up there. And over the last month or so, it's just been consolidating there, which is bullish. Oh, and this bar from last week suggests it's going to go up and make new all-time highs. So that's the bias, and let's see if it can get going. So the daily chart going back here, we see this consolidation. It looked like maybe it was going to pull back a little bit more. It didn't. Buyers stepped up again. And so let's set an alert up here. While it's at resistance, and that prior high over there, this is the concept that we refer to as absorbing supply. So this kind of words, terminology often confuses new students. It's like absorbing supply. What does that mean? Well, you look at the pattern and, it's like, well, it's at resistance and it's not going down. So this interaction between buyers and sellers, resistance, supply, it's not going down, bottoming tail bar, it's absorbing supply. Or we could just call it bullish price action. And so this is bullish price action, and that would suggest it's going to take out this high and continue to move up. Repeat, more things that move up in unison Making new all-time highs will move our internals to a risk-off thing, and psychologically, more and more will think this is going to go up forever. And we know it doesn't in the short term anyway. In the long term, yes, it'll go up forever because they always throw out the junk from an index and put in new winners, and that holds things up. All right. Interest rates continue to be all over the place, and getting tired of repeating it, but big trading range, little trading range, middle of the trading range. They're up here a little bit meaningless. But I suppose at some point they're going to make a substantial move one way or another. So we wait. Set alerts, nothing of significance happening as of yet. Qs, new all-time high. Let me just put, easier to put this on a 5-minute chart than what I was talking about as far as on Friday. Right? So it had this nice move, and the others just continued to go up, and this was chop, chop, chop. And so at this point, it's after 2 o'clock. I'm like, this thing's going to play catch up. It was a constructive pattern, meaning lower high, lower low, above minor support on this time frame, and it's going to move up. No, it didn't. The sellers kept coming at prior pivots, and at that point, it was like, it just ain't going to happen. Get out of the way. And it didn't happen. So now it's gapping up, new all-time highs. It's based on news. So today, what we're interested in is, can it hold on to that gain? Or do the semiconductors and the Qs give it back? Right? Does it hold up here? Do we get a gap and crap type of situation? Does it close below a prior bar's low? Or does the bullish price action, right, for today continue? Right? It's the unknown. We'll see. The dollar, I mentioned to Dan this morning, I think it's time to put the toe in the water with this. It's down on this major support, and I know, the UUP has dividends, and it doesn't look exactly like DYX, but it's beginning to stabilize down here, and it's really been plummeted, right, down a lot. So I don't know. You got to be patient. Same with XLV, which I mentioned in the letter over this weekend, which I thought was going to go lower, as it came down here, and it's been building this base, and it gapped up last week. And so far, some bullish price action there. So this is a beaten down sector, and this would be one for money to rotate into, and it's a laggard. So this could be one that starts to bring up the rear, and it's been one that has been under selling pressure as, Trump became president, RFK, we're going to straighten out this healthcare system, the healthcare providers. I don't think that's a good term, healthcare providers. That's the last thing they do. The insurers, right, still getting crushed. It looks terrible, but some other sectors, maybe medical devices and that type of thing, begin to do well. All right. Spiders are gapping up, a little giving back here. Moment, put back on the 15-minute. You can see it gapped up and it'll pull back into the gap fill right there. So we'll see if buyers want to step up as it fills the gap, or maybe it doesn't fill the gap. Well, it's very close. So we'll see. It pushes back up, but it's going to be, I think, for me anyway, my perspective, a more difficult trading day as far as the sectors go. Right, this is up several days in a row. It's gapping up. We'll have to see. It might take an hour or so for it to stabilize and maybe form a little bottoming action. We'll just have to see. All right, maybe coming down here and then resume the uptrend, since this isn't going to violate the uptrend by any means today. All right, so gapping up there. Let's look at SPX, and then I'll hand it over to Dan. And I am going to turn on so Dan can load his charts if he chooses to. Put it on multiple presenters. So yes, last week's almost got tagged. Trying to hold. We always like the whole numbers. Right? That one never came close. And so at a minimum, you want to be a put strike below a prior day's low in an uptrend. Um, so it's much safer when they're coming out of a base versus up several days in a row. But coming down here, you got to look at since from one point, just common sense. It's in an uptrend, buyers on dips, so on and so forth. Is it likely to go down there? And just come to that's what a call spread or a put spread is about. Is it likely to go down there within the expiration? Right. So 63.50. I'm going to pick 63.50 since it's a half number, and we'll see if it pills back. We can get below that. At least it's gapping up and it's below two prior days lows. So some support there. Big difference from one strike to another. I don't like that. Anyway, we're going to have to go at 64.30, assuming it goes up, that this number will come up. So we're just looking for extremes on the day. And yeah, 64.30. It's, I hate to say it in that tone of voice, like it's never going there today. Right? Anyway, that's extreme. We'll see what it does. This is our starting point. It's gapping up around here. So kind of in the middle of the range there. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. I'm on my laptop here down in the Keys, so if the sound is off a little bit, apologize for that. We have a lot of stuff to look at. Yeah, Thomas, Oclo's on the list. Oh, Greg, sorry, I didn't open up our group today, so if you can post me any questions. Yeah, FHM row. Yeah, beautiful continuation pattern. Yeah, yeah, beautiful. You know what this kind of reminds me a little bit of? We did an MT live on how to tell the difference between a potential M top and a continuation pattern. And this, when I'd see a bounce, this could have possibly been an M top, and then it turned into bullish price action. Friday was a beautiful range expansion and go from continuation pattern. So the answer is yes. I can't tell where it's gapping. It's an end of day rally. So the stop has to be Friday's low for now. Ideally, you get a 1, 2, 3, which by definition, 26 bullish horizontal bars in the upper third of this would be more of a no-brainer entry. Oclo. Yeah, I posted Thomas a put spread on this. And Greg, this was when I actually asked you over the weekend. We like 1, 2, 3s from consolidation. So I asked Greg, I'm like, can we give this directional? It's at 4 bars. It's kind of judgment call. But I posted it as a put spread, Thomas. We did, here, I'll just give it to you. I did it pre-market. Well, here, I just did SEG also. I found these two pre-market. They were not in the letter, so I'll give them to you. But here's my Oclo. And I already sent an order out for both of these. So I'm not even waiting for it to, they're gapped up, so I'm only going to get filled on a pullback. Um, alarms going off. Fubo. Uh, so it's not a 1, 2, 3 because these two bars are above the wide range bar. So that's why I called this one a continuation breakout. But look at the beautiful weekly trading range consolidation. This is a buy setup in a trading range. So daily, weekly look great. So I like Fubo over the high. I guess, this one little spike here hit my alarm. Snow alarm. That's put spread idea. I'm not crazy about this for a swing at all, but look at all that support right there. And as Greg said, pre-market, that's what a put spread is. We just find an area where, let it chop around. So we got the 210s on this one. We're gonna try to do XLV. Greg mentioned I had an alarm go off for some reason. Diamonds, put spread idea, but it's coming in, so it'll be a clean hit. If it hits, Pelletier, put spread idea, shop. I see it again. I don't, the way it came down, I'm not crazy about a directional, although it is bullish daily, weekly, monthly. But I like that as a put spread. Raul, A-R-E. I don't like the big old tail on Friday. Why? Because it was a deep, ugly retracement. So that's the negative. The positive is it broke out, closed with a bottoming tail. It broke out of a bottoming pattern. So I would just like it to chop around sideways a little more first. Is my only comment on that. NUE continuation pattern. New core is steel. I used to live in Charlotte, and that's where new core is based. But this is another good example of possible M top. And now it's a continuation pattern. Look at that rising 20. So yeah, it looks good. Highway GES bottoming decent void. When you say long term, let me interrupt you right there. Long term is you got to define what long term means. But I see what you're looking at. And the answer is yes. Yes, you got all time frames in alignment for a bottoming pattern. And so long term to us means avoid on the weekly and the monthly. This has room if you're patient, you know, 16 to 18. So yes, I agree. I agree with your long term um, description. And this is a continuation pattern breakout. I like it. Yes, sir. So let's gap in a 1370 again, end of day base. I prefer a pullback. Fubo here comes down. So let me put ES down here. Looks good. Let me go to earnings. There's actually not many. There's typically not many on Monday. I guess they're kind of, dragging like many other people. All right, so this thing getting down to 94.50. It's a mess, no pattern, no interest. And I deleted a couple already. I feel like it's like pattern. Friday's high, big put spread at best, but not. I mean, I got a ton of the better looking patterns. It had this open flat, then it would be a continuation, a little 1, 2, 3, but it's gapping down. It's an ugly gap, so no interest. With this deal with the EU, they're going to invest in energy and other things. So this thing's getting a nice pop. LNG puts in. Well, that's where I found the SEG also. SEG is one of the energy ones that are getting a little pop from the deal. So whatever I gave the 310s. And I have an order out already, pre-market also. I'll tell you if I get filled. Victor Golf. 1550 bullish gap. Yeah, put spread at best, maybe making a turn here, but I don't like that it made a lower low and the weekly's bearish, gave up that green bar, so no interest. And I guess the deal included some military stuff. No pattern there. That had earnings last week and got flopped. RTX, that's a bullish pattern. Negated that gap, all-time high. So this one is superior to LMT. Texan is just an upgrade. Yeah, that thing got killed. Let's see. So when we trade things that get killed, we want a potent reversal. Thursday and Friday, slowing momentum, yes. Potent turn, negatory. So I have no interest on that. All right, that's it. So I don't have any earnings trade. Just kind of these things in the news. Greg mentioned UUP. I put an order out at 27.30. Obviously not filled, but I got an order out. SMCI. Nice, kind of, there's no right shoulder yet, but came down and up at resistance with a nice range expansion. Bullish weekly, monthly. Look at this monthly. So this one also, I think, has room. We actually were in this over here. It's when trail stopped out at a small gain. But I think we got to give this one a little more room, but I like it. Let's stop last week's low. Weekly, monthly look to me like they can go to 70. That'd be a $15 gain. So I like that on a pullback. It's capping up. Brown, I just saw as Greg was talking, I saw this go by the ticker. Look at this thing, just exploded. Penny stock. Look at that. 50-cent penny stock. But believe it or not, it's settling down here and giving us an entry if it can get over Friday's high. FHN. All right, that was mentioned on YouTube. So we're down there. These are my watch list. Let's scan our opens here. I don't have my big 6 screen here today, so I typed all these out. These are all our opens, and this is what I do on my big computer. I have a minder of all our opens, and we are 100% long, other than yeah, one short. Where are you? Onion. It's our only short, and it's still showing relative weakness. So that's still fine. But I'm looking for big up or down. Otherwise, I don't care about it. Right? So what are the outliers here? The answer is nothing. So, I mean, ideally, with the market gap up, we would want to see some bigger gap ups to take some gifts, tightening stops. So I just got filled on something. And then I had Dollar General alarm. Okay, Dollar General 5-minute lows ago. This was a short. I don't like trading the first 5 minutes, particularly on deals. Yeah, I thought I saw a Fang gap now. Yeah. Fang ad looks great. Sure. Yeah, we got a put spread on that, but 5-minute low could be directional here. I'm getting filled on something else here. Let's see what I get filled on. Oh, core, I had an order and I got filled on. I was bidding for IBP pre-market, and I just got filled at 135.30. All right, so IBB, where we have this in our ETF letter, I just did a small order pre-market. All right, so all our opens are fine. Fang looks great. Papa Hotel, I see up $2. So we're just in trail mode. Stop Friday's low. That looks great. This Aqualo I see coming in. I'm only going to get filled on the put spread, so I'll leave my order. GES, we mentioned bottom right. Now, I love when they come in a little bit, and then this would be a beautiful 30-minute high. So let me set an alarm, always a little early. So how about 1363? That looks great. Remember, any, any directional is a put spread candidate. So let's check GBS, Reddit alarm, GBS. I remember when GBS as a kid used to be a popular clothing brand. The spreads are ridiculous. Our Airbnb alarm, that's a put spread idea. Reddit put spread. All right, so that one might get filled. That one triggered and is pulling in. So that is fine. It's a put spread. It's not a directional. Text alarm. That text. Let me see if this is directional or I forget. System's official now. They had an alarm. We actually had a lot of great ideas this weekend, more than I thought. All right, text is not an official trade. So let's set an alarm on it. Um, looks good. Good. Uh, I thought it'd be a good 30. Earning. That's why. Earnings 731 is why I didn't give it. That's why. But, 10, 15-minute high. I like that. I like. Thing. Yeah, thing looks great. Let me put that over here. I got an alarm on Jess. Uh, so these are all watch items to enter. APP has to get over Friday's high, and that's a put spread, so it hasn't triggered yet. Len, we have as a put spread, but I want to watch this for a directional also. I just wish Friday had a bottoming tail, and then I'd feel more comfortable with a directional, but it's on my directional watch list. Only, but the put spread, well, they kind of suck the juice out. Let's see, I'm gonna put an order up there. At the 110, 107 right now, or the most liquid, 35. Put an order out for 50. See if I can build a pullback. EBD. Yeah, 5-minute low. Yeah, I like when they trigger and then bounce, and then they gotta trigger a second time. But Alex, that's a $3 stock. I personally don't like swinging under $7, but day trade if you want. But no, I would not give that to our subscribers. All right, other alarms. Zero alarm? Well, it's not official, but all right, snow will be a clean alarm if it hits. It pulled in pre-market, so 220. Let me just reset the alarm on snow, because I know it went off. Just reset it. I think the shop alarm went off. Computer's slowing down here. I think it's my computer though, not my internet was acting fine. Come on, man. All right, yeah, so shop gapped up, so it's just a matter of if you're gonna get filled or not, but I seriously doubt it with that. All right, oh, it's still not filled yet. That's sick. I might just leave my order out there. I'm not filled yet. LNG, there's no setup. RTX is bullish, but it's not a big run. I'd prefer sideways more. UUP, we gave it at the market open. I was bidding, trying to get a cheaper price. So the opening price is what? Slow it down. Open. So 40. LRE. See how these ETFs are going. Opening price 42.59. BB. Open. One, two, four, six. So another number of things triggered for the weekly options trader. It's just a matter if you get filled or not. Well, look here, they did also, so let me just reset that alarm. Um, 5 minute low instead. So 5 minute low is under 106.25. I gave a limit though of puts. All right, so that's not gonna get filled unless it bounces on the dollar coin. And I call spread also. Yeah, gave a call spread also. Let's see what the juice bar is. So 110, 113. They're not getting filled. Yeah, all right, guy is in the letter, but it has to get under Friday's low. So, hey, RM sauce. Oh, well, so you're not buying it. You think no selling it. This got filled on some XLRE. I was bidding 42.50. So I just got filled myself right there. So I'm scaling into it. I only did 100 shares. All right, M sauce. Y'all remember we had a discussion? Yeah, SMCI, like, you remember Friday about why I would sell in the money calls on M sauce? We had that talk. So now I'm up very nicely. I sold them for 22. Now they're a dime. I'm over 50% of max profit. I'm gonna bid for some here. So actually, I was bidding 8 cents. I put an order out. Raise it. Filled. Yeah, filled at 10 cents. Flow still coming in there. I'm gonna chart. Since I'd rather a pullback, but yes, I like it. I like it. I like we just gotta be patient on our entry, Thomas. But I like daily, weekly, monthly. Yes. It would have been okay if it opened flat or even a 30-minute high if it was a gap down. But now with the gap, I just think we can get a pullback. S&P NASDAQ record highs. Oh, every day. There was I forget his name, some older smart dude on PNBC, and I think Joe was questioning him, fundamentally why the markets keep making new highs. And he's like, I don't know. It's funny. It's like, I don't know. It couldn't explain it.